Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order at 7:04. And then, so first on our agenda is, I don't know his first name, but LaBelle, is he here?
Yep. Noah, Noah LaBelle, he is here.
Noah, to talk about the Eagle Scout project?
No minutes from last time, just to check.
I have him, but I put him at the end because we've got two guests tonight, so I figured we'd
Okay.
do that first.
I'm
Yep.
just following the template.
Yep.
How dare you, Don? How dare you? All right, I'm going to move Noah over.
Hello.
There he is. So, hey, Noah, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad.
So I will. I'll just start on this. So Noah approached me a while ago to talk about partnering with Recreation to do his Eagle Scout project. I'm going to let him kind of go into detail of what that is. What I will say, without again spoiling what his project is, I did meet with Noah out on site where he's thinking about doing it about a week or two ago at this point, and kind of gave him my blessing on half of the rec department. This is out at Trottier, and so we did want to check with the schools, and they have given their green light, and we checked with DPW as well just to be safe. They have given their green light. So I just want you to know, as Noah kind of brings this forward, that all the parties involved with the area that we're going to be talking about down at Trottier have given the okay. And I think it's a really unique project. So Noah, I'll turn it over to you if you just want to kind of give an overview of the project, kind of how you came about wanting to do it, and then anything else you want to add.
Sure. I did prepare a slideshow presentation. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Oh yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. Do you have the permissions or do you need it?
I think I need it. All right, I've got permissions. All right. Can everyone see this okay?
Absolutely.
Great. So here's just to get started right away. So my project is to build a dedicated platform for astronomy and night sky watching use. And that will be, like we said, back like in the back Trottier field behind the track, which has perfect clearance in all directions for night sky watching and for using telescopes. I've gone out there in the past couple of weeks and actually used one of the telescopes that I have, and the night sky views were absolutely amazing there. And so you might be wondering why I decided to do this project. So my dad and I have we have a telescope and we've been interested in astronomy in the past, but when we've tried to go around town and find places to use this and to find places to look at the night sky, there have been a lack of spots in town with really good clearance, visibility, and accessibility. So part of the reason why I did this project is because I want there to be a dedicated place where citizens of Southborough and neighboring towns can go for night sky watching and for using telescopes. And then I also want to allow more people to learn about astronomy and have access to amazing night sky views. And if there are any questions at any point, please feel free to interrupt me. I'd be happy to answer them. So this is my current design and the current dimensions of the platform. So I'm planning on using stone pavers, the color which will be determined. And so 12-inch by 12-inch pavers, creating a huge 100 a huge square with 144 pavers. So it'll be 12 feet by 12 feet. When Mr. Davis and I met at the site location, we measured out this distance and made sure it was something that wouldn't be in the way of all the standing activities that are there, but something that still would have enough space for multiple people to be on the platform at once using telescopes. And so here are some other angles. The pavers themselves are 1.5 inches high. And then, so that's a general idea of what it would look like. And so for the building materials and general cost of the project for this section, like I said, there will be at least 144 pavers to purchase. So just stone patio pavers, like you would see in a patio. and 12 feet by 12 inches by 12 inches, 1 foot by 1 foot by an inch and a half high. And then, so if we account for having 10% more than needed for the platform itself, that'll be 158 pavers, and those are about $2 each from Home Depot, so that would be $316. And in order to help with the accessibility of the project, and to make sure people wouldn't have to lug telescopes through the grass as much, I was also planning on having an additional 60 pavers that can be used for a walkway up to the platform. So that would be another $120, but that would also help with the accessibility of the project from like a handicap perspective, because that would help people like with wheelchairs or other mobility challenges to get to the platform in an easier fashion. And then, so the pavers themselves will not just be standing on the ground. I'm planning on digging out about like 3 or 4 inches below each of the pavers, and then filling that in with sand, gravel, and then all-purpose paver sand, which how it sort of works is you lay that in the ground and then you put the pavers on top, and then it solidifies and hardens to make sure that nothing will grow through. And just to make sure of that, I was also planning on using landscaping fabric as well. And then, so in addition to the sand that would be under the pavers, there's also I'm also going to use some additional paver sand, and then so you can like spray it or like disperse it on the top of all these pavers, and then like spray it down with water a couple of times at like 10-minute intervals, and then it solidifies all the cracks in, like it makes sure there are no cracks in between, so then nothing will grow through. So then it will make the project last much longer and not be disrupted by weeds growing up or anything. So and those bags are cover about half a cubic foot, and so I anticipate that I'll need maybe 25 bags to cover the bottom area of the platform, and then 5 bags to fill the sand between cracks there. And then for the paver walkway, about 15 bags for like the underneath, and then 11 for the bottom, and then 4 for the cracks, so 15 total. And then in addition, so that's the like material aspect of the platform and the project and the walkway. But in discussions with the Troop 92 committee, they thought it would be a good idea to just to make sure the platform would be like really easily accessible at night, to get so like variable solar red lights that would turn on like once it's dark enough, that we could put along like the walkway on the side of the track, the pavement there, because it would be a little harder to see if there were no lights at all, since there are like one of the great things about the site is there's no light pollution at all from the parking lot. So it would be good to have some like solar red lights, which would interfere with the telescopes much less than big bright lights would, just to make sure that there would be no safety hazards with tripping along the way. And because that pavement area is notorious for cracks along the way as a former Trotter cross country member, so just to make sure nobody would have trouble with that. And then I was also planning on building a small kiosk with information about the project, and then in addition, like night sky viewing, and then maybe a QR code to helpful apps or websites. And because part of what I'm doing with this project is working with the Southborough Library, they have a couple of circulating telescopes that I was hoping people could like take these telescopes and use them with the platform. I might have like a specific link to the library service. They have a couple of, they have this nice online form that has like information about the telescopes and astronomy resources there. So a QR code to that I think would be really helpful to sort of like connect those two systems together. And then another note on the circulating library telescopes, they are like tabletop telescopes, so they're not meant to be put on a tripod. Sorry about that. So I was also thinking about potentially building like a small tabletop surface on one corner of the platform, so then it could be used to help hold up those circulating library telescopes. So with all that combined with all the materials and the solar lights and the kiosk, and like having the pavers for the platform and the walkway, that would be about $800 for a cost estimate. And then, so finally, just an additional note on accessibility. So it's my personal belief, and I think the belief of many others, that Eagle Scout projects and all like community endeavors should be accessible for all community members. So that's why I'm hoping to incorporate the walkway up to the platform, and making sure the pavers will be flush, so there can be no way that people with wheelchairs could get the wheelchairs trapped or anything, and that the walkway will be at least 3 feet wide, because the max wheelchair width is 30 inches. So with 3 feet, we wouldn't have to worry about that. Since the platform itself, the pavers will be flush with the ground, then there will be no issue with having to lift up a wheelchair to get there, or by that effect, not having to lift up telescopes too much. So it makes it easier to access from that perspective. And then, like I already mentioned, the red solar powered lights will help make the path visible at night up to the side of the platform. And then I already talked about the Southborough Library, partnering with them, and I've already met with Mr. Donovan of the Southborough Library. I'm currently renting out one of the circulating telescopes that they have that's not currently functioning, so I'm hoping to get that up into working condition, and then like check the dimensions so I can incorporate that with the tabletop that I'm hoping to build for the tabletop telescopes. And then, like I said, building a kiosk so people can learn more about the project, have more information about the night sky in that specific area, and give a QR code to additional resources. And this is just a general timeline. So right now we're at the presentation to the Recreation Committee. I've already met, like I said, with Mr. Davis earlier the last month, and then I presented to the Troop 92 Committee a couple of weeks ago, and they've given full approval for my project. And then after this, hopefully with approval, I'll move on to the Mayflower Council, start fundraising, and get this project underway. So that's all the stuff I had prepared, but I would love to answer any questions or concerns.
No, if I can just ask around the fundraising aspect, do you have any idea of what you're going to be doing for fundraising? Anything that we may be able to help support and get the word out about?
Yeah, so one of the things that I was hoping to do, and like I have a couple different fundraising ideas. One of them, since I'm working specifically with the library, I was gonna try to reach out to the friends of the Southborough Library to see if they would be willing to donate from anything from that end. And then I was also hoping, there are a couple of people in town. I think one person who works at St. Mark's School, and then maybe a couple of others who are really into astronomy. And I know people who are really into astronomy are quite into astronomy and willing to help out and spread the word about the project, or give their input and stuff. So I'm going to be reaching out to them soon. And then in addition, I was hoping to, I know there is a class at Algonquin Regional High School, an astronomy class. So maybe reaching out through there to the teacher of that class. And then because it's at a location of the schools, maybe the parent teacher organizations and everything with that. And then for other things, I was hoping to maybe have a bake sale to raise funds, or some other event maybe where people could learn more about the project, but also learn more about astronomy in the process. And then donations would be encouraged. But I'm definitely open to other fundraising ideas, because I think that the Recreation Commission in Southborough Rec would be a great avenue to sort of direct fundraising through. So any ideas would be greatly appreciated.
Noah, oh, sorry.
I'll just ask a quick, first of all, great project. Jen and my husband are both involved in the Scouts, and I can guarantee they'd be getting the boys over there probably a couple of times, as they're always looking for things to do.
Yeah.
So they're about to graduate into Cub Scouts this year. The table that you mentioned, so when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about the table that you mentioned, and activities like that. Will the table fit more than one tabletop telescope? And if not, would you consider a couple of tables?
That's a great question. So what I'm thinking about doing, now that you bring that up, I do know that the library has only one currently functioning tabletop one, but the other one I'm hoping to fix, or get into working condition.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a great idea, actually, because like I don't want to take up the entire like have the entire platform basically just be a table because
Right.
for
Right.
people who have like telescopes on tripods, that would sort of like ruin the experience for them. But I agree it would be an excellent idea to like for people multiple people with tabletop telescopes to like have an extended table for that. So
Yeah.
I can measure out the dimensions to make sure two can fit.
Yeah, again, because the guaranteed customers, that will be coming would be both the Boys and Girl Scouts, I guarantee.
Yeah.
My second question, I'll let the others ask questions. And again, I think this is an awesome project. Is that, and it might be a question more for you, Tim. My former high school brain immediately went to the fact that we'd have this spot out there in the middle of the night beyond what you can see from the parking lot, perhaps, a place where typically the police aren't expecting to see cars, I don't think, at night. I'm not even sure if the track closes at dawn or not. At dusk. I can't recall. So has there been any discussions with them in terms of kind of introducing this new nighttime outdoor environment that would result in cars at the school, for example?
It has not been discussed officially, but that's an easy conversation I'm going to have with both chiefs. So that's a great thought. So I'm happy to do that.
Yeah,
Great,
that's also something that came up in my conversation with the Troop 92 committee. So that's definitely, considering that's been raised a couple of times in these talks, I think that's definitely something we should do. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you. I'm sure others have questions, so I'll let them go.
Hey, Noah, did you say that the library only has tabletop telescopes and only has one functional one at this point?
So interestingly enough, they did have a like telescope on a tripod that was donated by a library patron a couple of years ago. But they were talking with the person who donated it, and the library staff like couldn't actually figure out how to use it consistently, and thought like because it's a more like high quality telescope with the tripod, it would be a lot of moving parts to rent out and have circulate, and especially if something got damaged, they didn't want to have to deal with all of that and like making sure to replace everything. So what they actually did is Mr. Donovan just like said, we have this telescope on a tripod. We don't really know what to do with it. So we'd be willing to just completely donate it to use in your project. So that's what happened. Now I have like another telescope that we can use with the project. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. I was thinking maybe like, because the library says it wouldn't be the best thing for them to circulate. So I'm thinking about potentially reaching out to like the schools, either like, I know Trotter has like units on the moon phases and everything, or maybe Algonquin, because I know there's an astronomy class there, to see if there would be some partnership that we could set up there, and maybe a way for like other people in the town to also rent it out from the school or borrow it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I was going to recommend is if in the event, and maybe it doesn't work, maybe my library idea doesn't work, but there's another organization in town, the Southborough Community Fund. It used to be the Southborough SEF used to be its own entity and has combined with the Southborough Community Fund, and they fund educational projects, right? So if the library wanted to get an additional telescope, or if there was a teacher at Trotter who was willing to sponsor it, maybe a science teacher, you might be able to help them fill out a request or petition to the Southborough Community Fund and get an additional telescope made available to the community, either through either available through the library. So maybe it's not as fancy as a tripod one, or if you could find a teacher who would be willing to sponsor it at Trotter, maybe there is an ability to do it there, but it would have to be either the library or someone in the educational area.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I didn't think of that, so thank you. I'll definitely reach out.
We can thank my wife for that idea because she's on that committee.
Thank you.
Jen or Rachel, do you got anything?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Great presentation. I was just curious about what the anticipated upkeep would be for, the platform, like in terms of just, is it going to need to just be swept off if it snows, or, will the tabletop need to be cleaned up? What do you anticipate kind of down the line?
Great question. So, I think the upkeep is pretty much like as long as we use landscaping fabric underneath the surface, we won't have to worry about any roots or weeds growing up over the platform. So we pretty much only have to worry about making sure that's not covered by any snow or leaves or anything. And the great thing is Troop 92, like one of our big things is community service and making sure that all the service project that Eagle Scouts have done are like upkept and like can still be functioning for the community. So I think like we have a regular schedule of trying to like go to Eagle projects and make sure they're still in good working condition. So that's something that Troop 92 will do. And then also I know we like one of the things that Mr. Davis and I measured out is making sure that it has enough space for like mowing in the area, like in that backfield. So maybe when people are going through there, like I'm not sure if they like shovel out the path for the snow, but like to go up to the backfield, because I mean I don't think it's really being used for anything right now in the winter, and I'm not really sure who would want to go to the platform like when it's like super freezing cold and snowing. But I don't know, that could be an avenue to explore. And maybe like see if the schools have like anything to do with that, like as a part of upkeep on the grounds.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have no questions. I mean, like you guys asked all of them, but this is awesome. I'm excited to be able to get the kids out there to use it. So
I am too. Thank
I
you.
do have just one more quick one on your timeline. It looked pretty aggressive. My kids and I were just joking how last year, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, there was snow on Halloween.
Don't say it.
So
Don't
just-
say it, Chris.
I know, but more for my education, are you allowed to kind of like fundraise while you're building and after you're building, or do you think you're going to get all this fundraising done in October to be able to begin in November, like your current timeline, or is that just best case and you may have to go to the spring?
I think the timeline obviously is best case scenario.
Yeah.
But I think it would be okay because like it's not a super expensive project. Like it's only like the greatest cost it would be is about $1,000. So if need be, I could probably pay that out of pocket or with troop funds if
Gotcha.
fundraising doesn't cover everything. But that's not to say that, like, let's say I host a community stargazing night on the like when the telescope is officially opened, and then we say, hey, it would be great if you like put some donations towards like either like repairing one of the telescopes or like helping like finish this aspect of the project to make sure like we're doing it like debt free or something. So I think that's something that we can even like tie into the project and tie into its use.
Right.
That way, at least for the first like couple of months with that. But we'll see what happens with like the timeline. I'm hoping to get it done by November because like, I mean, I was anticipating that would be a good time to use it because hopefully there won't be too much snow. Obviously, we know that might be up in the air because it was last.
I didn't mean to jinx it.
Yeah.
I was just more curious if there was guidelines around the fundraising. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. So part of this, I don't know, it needs a letter of support and kind of a vote of confidence from us. So I was hoping that we could take an official vote to approve this project, and then we can get it written up and sent off to him so he can have it for his records as he moves on.
yep, that sounds so. Someone make a motion.
I will motion to approve Noah LaBelle's Eagle Scout project as presented to us today.
Second.
Dumont, yes.
O'Day, yes.
LaBelle, yes.
Hanson, yes. All right.
All right.
Nice job.
Excellent.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Noah. I'll work with Jen. We'll get you that letter probably by the end of the week. And once that's done, we'll send it off. And as you've been doing, please stay in contact. And if anything else we can do to help as you're moving along, just let us know.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Wonderful to meet all
All
of you.
right.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks, Noah. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
All right. So next up on the list is
I hate being called Mr. Davis, just for the record.
I noticed that. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard you called that before. We have Activitas to talk
Yes.
about goat field study.
Yep. So I got Meg in the audience and Kelvin. So I'm going to move them both over.
All right, great. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Meg.
All right.
How we
I don't know
doing?
if I can, I don't know if I can top Noah's project. That was that's pretty amazing. So nice job by him. Well, thanks everyone for having us tonight. I'm Meg Bazinski with Activitas. I'm a principal civil engineer for the company, and with me I have Calvin Huang, one of our landscape designers. And tonight we just wanted to talk to you about the turf study over at Choate Field, over at Woodard School, and confirm some programming things that we want to understand, talk a little bit about schedule, those types of things, and kind of set us up for, moving through this project efficiently, and getting you guys everything that you need for your future planning. So just a quick little background, with what Kelvin and I do. Activitas is a landscape architecture and civil engineering company. We focus on athletic field design, or athletic design in general, fields, tracks, courts, the whole 9 yards. We work with a lot of municipalities. We've done similar things with Lexington, Weston, Belmont, Situate, and a whole host of other municipalities, as well as some private schools. We did some work over at St. Mark's, and collegiate work, and then some professional as well. So we're excited to get this started for you. I do have a little presentation. Mr. Davis, can you put that on? Just kidding. All right, let's see here. All right, can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, great. All right, so we just kind of through introductions. We just really want to talk about programming and what you guys, kind of what's driving this study, what your needs are, and making sure that we address, everything as part of it. So we haven't come out to the site yet. That's kind of next on our list, but we've, done some kind of aerial reviews and things like that. And we understand, there's kind of a large space. We have softball, and then a lot of, a rectangular field on the left-hand side, and then open space, over on the right. There's some existing slopes in there. The fields are generally, even with Cordoville Road, as well as a little bit of that parking lot. There's a little slope in between there, but I think the area is pretty defined just from existing site constraints, as well as the new lighting that you put in a few years ago. We really, unless there's something that really makes us feel like we should move poles around, we'd like to keep those obviously where they are. So right now, field dimension wise, we have the softball field. You have 270 down the right field line and 315 down the left. So I'd love to hear a little bit about who's playing out there and if it's desired to keep that in the future. And then your rectangular fields, there's the smaller field to the left-hand side, that's kind of its own rectangular spot. We're calling field 1 right now. And then field 2, which just from the aerial we can see was lined probably for, 7v7 or maybe even a little bit 4v4. So understanding, how much do we want to potentially expand those areas if possible. So as we started thinking, Kelvin and I, as we started looking at this, we want to really confirm with you the desired limits of turf. If it is the entire area that we're seeing, kind of both sets of fields, or if it's focusing on kind of one side or the other. And then understanding from you all, what are the sports that kind of, what is the drive for the turf material? Is it, you're trying to play. There's just so much that some of your other fields could, your other natural grass fields could use the rest, and this is going to help kind of be the workhorse in town. Is a desire for kind of earlier play in the kind of those shoulder seasons, the late fall, early spring, and then what you want to see out there. And then as part of that, we'll go into thinking about fencing and netting if you have issues out there, and then site amenities, scoreboard storage, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd love to start off, if we could, just talking about, the limits of the turf and what you all had in mind for where turf potentially goes.
So would you like a little bit of a what's our thought process? Would that be helpful?
Awesome.
All right. Does
Yeah,
everyone
absolutely.
mind if I go? I can.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So in town in Southborough, we have largely grass fields. If you are familiar with St. Mark's, you know that they have probably as many fields as we do just for them. And then Fay School also has a number of grass fields as well. So we're kind of constrained in terms of if we want to really keep our grass fields in good condition, they need to go down for rest every so often. And when they get taken out of the inventory, that really sort of puts a constraint on availability and scheduling. We are just going through a multi-year effort to upgrade and repair some of the fields that hadn't really been tended to over a number of years. And we would like to get into a really good program of maintaining those fields going forward. We do have in town a turf field located, it's our 9/11 Memorial Field, located on the border with Marlborough on land that we lease from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's an 11v11 field. It's used for soccer. It's used for lacrosse, and in the past it's been used for field hockey. But it does come with requirements or constraints with regards to the lease, the usability, et cetera, and it does not have any potential or future for lights. So we would like to have another turf field in town, a sizable one. So we'd like to have one that would be able to accommodate 11v11. It's a size that's in demand, both in terms of lacrosse and in terms of soccer. When we look at the sites that are in town and we think about the investment that would be necessary here, it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to put in a turf field if you do not have lights to go along with it. There really isn't any alternative or really viable projects to put lights in any other location. However, this location already has lights. So that makes this location sort of one that rises up the list as far as like consideration for use, because it doesn't require us to go through the process of attempting to obtain them. They've already been approved and they're available for use. So we would like to use the fields for games, for soccer, for lacrosse, multi-sport. We would like to retain the softball field there as well. It is utilized for adult recreation, and it also is used by softball teams. So we've seen an uptick in use by, I think, some of the local clubs have used it. There also some potential we could see increased, younger level usage if it's there. So we would want a multi-purpose sort of setup there. As far as the material and design, we would like something that is, the materials, we'd like to have something that is more of the softer sort of, I don't want to say concussion, but more of the younger kids landing on it type version, as opposed to the, we're not anticipating using it. We don't need the FIFA quality spin control. I don't know that we need the ruggedness that we might need for something like football, but we would like something that would, I don't know if that means it has a pad underneath or the materials, but we've done a little bit of homework on that, and that was a consideration as well. When I look at the picture here, the way that you've got it here, we are definitely interested in understanding what we can do on the right-hand side, so where you see field 2 and the softball field. The left-hand side, field 1, would be a sort of, I think that would come down to, is it necessary to work on that area to facilitate the greater solution? What's the cost? Like that, I look at that one as sort of incremental. We would want to think about our options there, because if the project does get to be too much, it may make it hard for us to solicit donations and whatnot to help the field. And then I'm trying to go through as far as scoreboards and storage. We're open to hearing, what's available from a fit perspective. The netting, I think, is something that we should definitely think about, given the location of one of the sidelines to Route 85 there. So that would definitely be something we would want to talk through. But hopefully, does that give you at least a little bit of a picture? And everyone can jump in if I missed anything. I sort of rattled that off the top of my head. I didn't have any notes ready.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Anyone else have anything before I jump back in?
Just going down, I guess, your little questions there. So for the parking lot, we don't want to touch the parking lot. The parking lot was just redone within the past 2 or 3 years, including that basketball court is just relined and resurfaced. So no real desire to, take any of it away, I guess. Don, correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say, Tim, is if for some reason we were talking about a couple feet,
Take the
hopefully
basketball
we'd be
court.
able to
Yeah.
grab a couple feet. But yes, we're not
Yeah.
looking to repave.
Yeah. And then obviously, the town went through just finished a substantial ADA study. So we want to make sure that the field is ADA accessible at every point, so that we fall in line and we don't shoot ourselves in the foot once everything's done.
Great. Tim, can you send me that ADA study? Did it address this school area or the fields at all?
Yep.
Okay.
Fields,
You can look at that,
fields
that'd be great.
specifically. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, great.
It's like a short 200 pages. So
Perfect. Some light reading.
The only other thing I'd throw in, and Don, I'm sorry if you said this and I missed it, but I think it goes without saying that it would happen anyways, is that we need to understand how the prices of the different fill, what the different fill options are and what the current prices are. I mean, we've been down that road several times, and obviously it's a hot topic when it comes to turf fields. So when I assume that would probably be part of what you're doing anyways, but just what the current market's like. And the range and costs for the different choices from the organic to the plastic.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so what we'll do kind of, so this is all very good information. This is exactly what we need kind of for that programming piece. And we can kind of split things up accordingly. I think what our next steps are going to be is to really come up with, 2 to 3 options to review with you all. And so as part of those options, it'll be more of a spatial idea, and then kind of starting to think about construction considerations. But so we can really dive in, what can you get out here? What can we fit? And then I think at your, so I think you and I can talk about this, but I think it's probably your next recreation committee meeting, depending on when that is, we can review those options together. And then the goal would be to narrow it down to kind of, for us to put together a preferred option. And then with that preferred option, and we'll talk about this at that kind of second meeting, is about phasing. And what does phasing mean? Whether it's, that entire field 2 area, and maybe field 1 is like a future phase, or maybe it's an add alternate, that you can consider when you actually go towards construction documents and bidding and all those good things. As well as, we'll have in that cost estimate all the ADA improvements and, all that kind of good stuff, those kind of landscape pieces that are so important to the fields. How about in terms of kind of a little bit more of the formalities, like with spectator seating, things like that? Is there a preference to keep this in more of an informal space that's very flexible, or is there any desire to get seating in anywhere?
I'll speak for myself and then let everyone else sort of weigh in. I think seating is a nice to have. I would not say. Having said that, though, for the softball areas, obviously you'd want to have some sort of space for bench areas, right? So putting that aside, dugouts or whatever would be the equivalent. I think the seating would be something that would be extra. What we're really trying to do is, try to increase the sort of utilization of the location and try to get as much in there as we can. And we're not looking to sort of turn this into a, permanent structure for tournaments or anything like that. Like, we're really trying to just, maximize what we can use it for and for utilization. And then it presents an opportunity. A more open space would probably give alternative uses for the town to use as well. So if there was a town meeting or something like that, you have a space that it isn't grass and people have to walk across whatever. So I guess that would not be a priority. And I'll
Yeah.
pause for a second and see if anyone else has something different.
I was gonna, yeah, go ahead, Kristen.
So I fully agree. I mean, aside from the obvious, we need enough room that the parents can set up their chairs on one side and the team can get on the other. We're good. For anyone listening, I just want to emphasize what Dawn just said is a really important point. This is not because we have great plans to, of course we can profit off of the turf, don't get me wrong, through rental. That's not really like the leading factor. What it is, and I can speak from experience, I coach grade 5 boys soccer. Last weekend it was raining last week on Tuesday, it was raining flat out. So, we couldn't practice. And then today was practice, but that also got canceled because Choate 2 and 3, which represents kind of that right side of the picture there, had to remain closed because of the rain that we received over the last, 24, 48 hours. So that right there is the perfect example. The boys have lost 2 weeks plus now because of Columbus Day, because our fields were just really wet. And if there were turf, that we would have been out there today. We probably would have been out there last week if there wasn't any thunder. So that, again, not really for the purpose of anyone here, but in case anyone's listening as to why we want to do this.
Well, I'd add on to that too, Kristen. Having the field with the lights also allows for the ability to reschedule games at night during the week or other times. For example, I had to reschedule. I coach my daughter's team. She's an 8th grader, and we had to reschedule the weekend game coming up on the holiday, and we ended up going down to Franklin, and because they had a lighted field, so we could actually go after work for all the parents and play a later game to sort of fit it in. So that optionality or flexibility really helps again maximize the utilization of what is a relatively small footprint for what we have here in town.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to add too, just to jump back on what Don said about, the seating would be nice and whatnot, but also outside of sports, this is a big hub for us for after school programs out on those fields that, shift every couple months on what exact activities there are. It's also, as of last year and hopefully in many future years, this is the main site of our summer camp. So all sorts of stuff goes on with those fields. So I think having any permanent structures or, just permanent structures in the way, kind of, obstructing our ability to move freely, kind of would work against us. So as Don said, it would be nice, but I think it would be definitely not necessary.
Okay, great. How's the kind of some specifics around the softball infield area? Is this field also used for Little League at all? Like, in thinking about kind of those turf limits, I'm assuming that we would turf the infield and get rid of the clay.
Yes.
Is there any desire for equipment to support Little League, like they have portable bounds, or is this strictly softball?
No, we have another baseball complex in town at Finn School that kind of takes care of the baseball piece, as well as a smaller field at one of our other playgrounds in Fayetteville Park, which is the home to a lot of the T-ball. So Little League wise, they are more than set. They got about 4 or 5 fields on their end. So this would really be, significant strictly to softball. Okay,
perfect. And how's when was last time kind of the backstop areas, net fencing in the back was renovated? Is that due for replacement, do we think, or is there anything worth? And we'll take a visit out there, but I just didn't know if it's
I think
lights or anything.
it's due for it soon, I would say,
Okay.
for sure.
Great. Unless Calvin jumps in with anything I'm missing, I think this is exactly what we need to move forward. So I think, our next steps is to really develop kind of two of those, 2 to 3 options that we'll present to you all at your next meeting. And then from there, like I said, we'll start to narrow it down. So I can work with Tim on those dates. If there's anything that, as we finish, we can send things ahead of time, also so people can kind of get their thoughts before we present and then ask questions as we present. I think that'll probably be helpful, for you all as you review. So it's not being seen for the first time as we're discussing it. Are there questions that I can answer for anyone?
I've got one question for the commission, and it's just my memory is just not serving me right now. When we originally looked at this few years back, am I wrong in saying we saw a picture that accommodated an 11 by 11 and 2 7x7s, or am I making that up? Because this picture obviously doesn't do that, but I seem to recall a prior picture that did.
Well, I wonder, Kristen, if the picture had the 7v7, one of them overlaid crossing like a perpendicular to that field. Yeah. And I would also say, Megan, that, as you get out there and take a look at it, and I see your sort of suggested dimensions on the left-hand side. We're not, I would say, at least again, personally, I'm not, but if you have to tilt the field a little bit to get the dimensions where they need to be, I don't think we're all, straight lines are all great, but like if you said, hey, by tilting the field by 5 degrees, you could, do this or do that, don't feel constrained with aesthetics. This is a very practical group and a very practical project. So we are looking to see what can we do to get in. And then like Kristen said, like, can you get a couple that, can you get a couple perpendicular and you get the softball, that's, again, we're trying to, and you'll see it when you get out there, take a look at it. We are trying to do our best to maximize it. But I do think, Kristen, what you saw probably was those, overlays.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and we'll absolutely look at, we won't, as we look at it, we'll look at it as part of our options, but it's not just that rectangular space, it's also those additional spaces outside it, where it may not be, you can't fit something in there formally, but this could be the warm-up area, and how much space, we'll kind of balance, how much space can we gain versus the cost to do it, thinking about this slope along here, if we kind of push that and put in a wall or something like that, how much additional space can we get, and is it worth that cost? So we'll work through all those options with you, and then think about how if it's a phasing thing or an alternate thing, as you go into, bring it to that next level, how to make it work best.
We appreciate your efforts here. This is really, COVID slowed us down a bit, but we've talked about this for a while, and what you're doing here is sort of what's the art of the possible, right? To let us know, do we have something here that we could leverage? And like you said, that space on the right, you need a place to put the nets at certain times. And so there definitely needs to be excess space, but having someone can come in, let us know what could be feasible, what's there. This is the type of information we need to sort of understand, do we have a viable suggestion? Could we interest others in to support it? Like, this is the kind of work that we need to sort of help us move this along for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, I think that's everything from my end, unless you guys need anything else. I don't want to hold up your meeting.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
All right. Well, Tim, I will be in touch with you, and then we'll go forward with next steps, and I'll see you all at your next meeting, and we'll start to really explore.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Meg. Appreciate it.
Have a nice
All
night.
right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Great.
That's exciting, huh?
Yeah, that was great.
Super excited. All right, so we'll dive into department programming updates, and then also Tim, like, you can really introduce us to our to Joe, our new teammate.
The random guy who's been on screen this entire time. I'll just start with that. I mean, so as you guys know, throughout the last summer, 4, 5, 6 months, it seems, we've been looking for a program coordinator, and we landed on, very unanimously with our crew who were doing the interviews. We landed on Joe, and Joe's been with us 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks now already. And to say he's dived in head first would be, I think, an understatement. So he's just, he's doing great. Joe comes from us. He's a Springfield guy. Yeah. With a degree, as we were hoping, with rec management. Did a few internships. And I think we might have talked about this back in one of our other meetings when we were kind of going over the process where we were, but interned with Enfield, interned with Chicopee, had some pretty unique experiences there that I think got him a lot of great experience. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but he spent the last about year or two being a rec director at a assisted living home, and then really wanted to get back into the municipal side of things. And he fell our way and was super patient through the whole process, and now he's sitting here with you. So I'll throw it to him if there's anything else he wants to add before we get into kind of the specifics of what we've been up to. And he's muted. We can't hear him. So
There you go.
Nope.
Is your phone muted?
He's a young one. He's supposed to be good at this. So.
Could it be your computer audio is off? That's what my problem was.
Bottom left, Joe. Click on that little arrow where it says mute. Should be a pop-up.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if his computer audio is muted. So he's unmuted on Zoom, but maybe his computer is turned down or something.
Nope.
It's okay. We're not hosting Zoom classes, right? So
No, we're not. No,
Zoom
we're
is not your specialty. We can always come back to you too if you can get up. You can figure out how to mute yourself. So, not a problem.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
We're excited to have you.
Hey, Tim, for the purposes of the minutes, what's Joe's last name again?
Durant.
Like the
Durant. Why don't you leave? Come back. See if it helps.
Tim, Jen, and I are going to have a new item on the wish list.
Oh,
More tetherball.
tetherball, bringing it back.
Our kids are playing it together at a wrap every day.
So I know you're going to bring it up with volleyball. We tried,
Yeah.
but we can't use the gym for a full session, so we weren't able to get it in at Trottier. So you got to be patient. We'll look for the spring.
Thank you.
Yeah, we didn't forget about you.
I'm going to
We
just put my daughter directly in touch with you.
Drum roll.
If his audio doesn't work, could you
Nope.
put the phone up to the speaker?
Oh,
What if he uses his phone? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, we're finally at the age that she's realized she has to drop some sports to focus on other sports.
How old is she now?
She's in 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's not doing basketball. I'm coping with that.
Your numbers are down. From
Yeah, so I think
what I'm gathering.
Yeah, I think they are. I think a lot of kids are in the same boat. She wants to focus on soccer, lacrosse, and volleyball.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to see if there's a club around or something that she can get involved in, but it's bittersweet.
Nope. All right, let's take a timeout. Joe, I'm going to call it.
Hey, Tim, what was Megan's last name?
He's calling Joe.
Anyone else remember Megan's last name? I got Calvin's last name, but I didn't get Megan.
I can look it up. I think I have an email. I'll grab that for you. BUC
Say that again?
BUC
Yep.
ZYNSKI.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That would be a great name for Wheel of Fortune.
Do we want to approve meeting minutes while they're trying to get his audio working? Because we can do that without them.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it was oh man, September 7th that I had sent around. So any questions about those or corrections?
I have no questions or comments.
All right, so we just need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the September 7th. I'm sorry. Yeah, the September 7th minutes as submitted by Jen Hansen on September 7th.
Second,
Dumont, yes.
Well, yes.
O'Day, yes.
Hanson, yes. All right.
Hello?
We should all mute.
Yeah. When he talks, we'll mute.
Oh, is it? Oh, man. Is it better if I leave the meeting?
Yeah, so what happens there is you actually need to turn off your audio to your computer also. So you can't hear anything out of the computer when you call in on your phone, but yes, we can hear you, Joe, so welcome.
I guess this works. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
So anyways, that was my introduction to you, Joe. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else before
No,
we
I
get
already
into.
forgot what I was going to say about that, but no, it was well said.
There you
Thank
go. Good. So yeah, department updates. So I'll hit Heritage Day and Gobble, and then I'll throw the rest over to Joe. So Heritage Day is a week out, just about. So Monday, Columbus Day. Denise is hauling. All the credit always goes to Denise on this one. This is kind of her baby, just with Summer Nights. So we've been working with her on this. We got over 60 vendors confirmed for the field, which will be wonderful. A lot of returners, which is great. A lot of people are very excited to come back. We're getting a lot of last minute trickle-ins, kind of day by day. We're taking them case by case. We're technically closed for registration of booths. So Denise is kind of seeing what she can fit as they come in. But we got about 60 vendors. We got a bunch of food trucks. We got a coffee truck, which is going to be great this year. We were hoping for that. So we have a coffee truck, I think a Mexican one. We got trolley dogs, I believe, and trombetas. So we'll have some food options. I think we got a fried dough guy type of thing. A lot of usual returners, Knights of Columbus doing their shootout, things like that. So it'll be good. So we're excited on that. The library will be doing their book sale across the street. So they're all set with that. And then the parade, we will be doing the parade. I know there was a little confusion as the weeks passed, last couple of weeks, if we were going to be doing it or not. We got the green light officially, and we kind of put it together. It's going to be much smaller than years past. A lot of the groups and the organizations that we were, so used to seeing are not doing events because of COVID this year. So both the marching bands weren't available because they weren't up and running to the point where they felt comfortable. So Algonquin as well as Trottier. The classic cars that were in it last go round, that group isn't doing any events this year, still as a precaution for historical. Some of the marching groups in general, Friends of the Library, some of the sports teams weren't able to do it this year. But it'll be a lot of the Cub Scouts, a lot of the Boy Scouts, a lot of the Girl Scouts, Scouts of America. There's gonna be a lot of them from the numbers we're seeing, probably like over 100 Scouts, which will be wonderful, and their families, Skyrise Theater, Kinder Group. We got the veterans confirmed, so they'll be leading colors for us in the front. I convinced DPW to put a few trucks in, so we'll have a couple trucks from DPW in it as well. So it's still gonna be great. It'll be short, but I think it'll be really, really good. So we're excited on that. But everything starts at 10 a.m. and we go till 3, I believe. It's a 5-hour one, and all we need is a beautiful day. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But we're confident where we are. We think it's gonna be a great day. We have a meeting with public safety on Thursday. We're getting all the minds in the same room. Board of Health, public safety, us, kind of all the players for the details, all that stuff. So everything will be confirmed by the end of this week, and we'll be good to go for Heritage Day. So,
Awesome.
any questions on Heritage Day?
Exciting.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be really good. And then the Gobble Wobble. So we're kind of hands off on the Gobble Wobble officially, as we should have been in years past. We're helping the friends, of course, with just kind of information and kind of helping with contacts. So we're working with them, just kind of facilitating communications with Trottier and the schools and some past vendors, things like that. But as of right now, we are full steam ahead. We have permission to use Trottier for the gymnasium, for registration and shirts and all of that. We'll kind of come up with more of a plan on flow of people, just because we won't want them hanging out inside as we have in years past. Let's hope it's not freezing, so people aren't trying to stay inside. But working with the schools to make sure that's all set with custodians and whatnot. Details have already been secured by the friends, or at least the request was put in from what I'm being told. Shirts are ordered. Sponsorships are rolling in. So it is going. It is definitely going. It's kind of, like I said, full steam ahead right now. They're really hauling on their end to get everything up to snuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited that that'll be going. They're not housing registration on our site, so they're going to stay with their third-party site. And I think we should be seeing it going live in the next week or so. The only detail we're trying to figure out is babysitting, because we're not sure we're going to be allowed to do that. Getting used to the cafeteria just because of the way it's set up with schools right now. And then we're just trying to figure out the kids run, if it's something that's a kind of a viable option to do with the time we have right now. So good news is it's going. It's on in the background. It is very much being planned, and I think the Friends are hopeful to have that out in the next couple of weeks for registrations to start kicking off as we're like a month and a half out. So. And then Halloween, I think, was on here, and this is where I'll turn over to Joe. In the past, we did do that Halloween party up the street at Finn, but we are, I think, back 2 years ago when we did that, we made the decision that was going to be the last year to do that, and so we came up with an alternative, and I will hand it over to Joe for that one.
Yeah, so for Halloween, Tim and I came up with a trunk or treat that would be held at Woodward in the bottom parking lot. So we've invited departments from around town, the police, fire, DPW, Selectmen Senior Center, and like many other, the library, just a bunch of town departments. And we told them all we asked them if they could bring a vehicle and decorate it and hand out candy. And that's for Saturday, October 23rd at 4:30. And then we have a movie following that. So at 6 o'clock, we're showing Monsters Inc. And we will have a food truck there. And it's
awesome.
obviously it's our first year running it. So we are very excited to see the turnout.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and then on top of it, the fire department's doing their annual as well the same day. So we just got Chief Achilles reached out to us, and we're going to see if we can actually combine the events to make it kind of a big, encompassing Halloween day for the town. So that could be cool. It could work in our favor.
A meeting with Chief Achilles, tomorrow about how they're having a parade through their the fire department. So we're going to try to get all those kids from the fire department to then walk down to our trunk or treat. So that's what my meeting is with Chief Achilles tomorrow is about.
That's cool. Is there a rain date, or is it happens or it doesn't?
Rain or shine?
Rain or shine. Okay.
Yeah, maybe not the movie, but probably the trunk or treat. So you and all this rain and snow talk, Kristen, you're killing me.
I'm coming off of 2 weeks of canceled practice. It's on my mind.
That's true. So.
Well, I think they'll use them or something different and nice, right? Like we have some of these things for forever, so I think it's good to change them up and try new things. And I know I've taken our kids to different trunk or treats in different towns too, something different. So that's awesome.
And it's, I think, just given the times, it's outside. It's not, inside, and everyone's wearing masks by default because of costumes. So should, fingers crossed. We're excited about it. So hopefully, and it hasn't been made public yet. So I think we're going to try to push that out once all the details are done with the chief, and then we're going to try to kind of flyer it out a little bit at Heritage Day to kind of bring some attention to it. Just because it's super public. So should be good. I'm excited for it.
Awesome.
And then I'll give it to Joe as well. This is nice. I don't have to do these updates anymore. And so Joe can, if you want to just talk about RAP with session 2 and what else we got going on.
Yep. So RAP, very similar. RAP 1, very similar to RAP 2, although which we learned the hard way. For RAP 2, we are unable to use the gym most days because of extended day. So that's made me come up with a different programming knowing that we can't always use the gym. So doing more stuff that's like hands-on or using stuff with like your mind. So not necessarily playing all the sports we would like to, but I have reached out to the extended day person in charge, and they did mention to us that we are able to get the gym 1 day a week. So hopefully we could run a basketball with that. That's what we have planned. And as for like winter programs, we still have we have cross country going on right now, which started last week, and that we got a really good turnout for that. So excited about that. Our first meet is this Thursday, and we also have adult ice hockey, which we partnered with St. Mark's. so we'll be using their ice skating rink. And so far we've had heard good things about that program. And we're also doing, again, the Wachusett ski trip. So we've been getting emails about that all week. So we just put up registrations at the end of last week, and we're already like halfway booked. So we're very excited about that as well.
And
Yeah, so
is the thing on the gyms different than years past with rec? I'm sorry, not rec, with SCDP?
yeah, it comes down to the
great if you
constraints
want.
of this. Yeah, it's kind of the constraints of the school of them trying to space everybody out. So extended day is in areas where they haven't been traditionally.
Gotcha.
And it's the issue, not to take your thunder, Joe, but the thing that makes us concerned is the end of this session hits December. So I know we can stay outside probably for November. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fall, put a sweatshirt on. We're not worried about that, but we're worried about the
Yeah.
first 2 weeks of December, kind of across every school.
Yeah.
So that's where talking to Carrie and talking to extended day has been great. Of just kind of saying, it's more of an as needed basis. If we're comfortable, last December, I think we had 70-degree days every now and then. So, we may luck out, fingers crossed on that. But Joe's in contact with extended day now, just so more of a as needed basis. So, and we know they have priority, and that's fine. So we'll work around it. Schools are always generous to us. So.
Thanks.
But yeah, that's it. So,
That's all we got so far. Yeah.
yeah, so far. So it's a quick 37 programs he threw together.
Yeah.
But yeah, RAP 2 went live today for this session, and almost instantly you saw some registrations come through. So we'll see tomorrow morning how that looks. The schools helped us getting all these things in the backpacks this go around. So that's been helping, especially when it came to the Wachusett trip. And then, like Joe said, we were able to kind of throw together a cross-country season, which was really great, with the meet starting this week. So it's been fun. It's been busy. So, and the Trotter kids have an option to go bowling this session, which should be cool. So hopefully that kind of sparks a little interest. I know we've been struggling getting the Trotter kids, so Joe will be driving them out to Apex once a week to go bowling. So we'll see what happens. So
That is really cool. I was going to say, are you going to Bolero? But you're going to Apex. Even better.
Yeah.
that's it. Any questions on programming?
No, I mean, like, I've got really happy kids that RAP is back.
There you go.
Tess is back, right? Like,
Take it. Yeah.
so,
Yeah. No, we've
I
heard
think
a lot of
people are really excited. So
a lot of the feedback we've gotten so far from RAP 1 is like a lot of people are happy it's back. A lot of people, when I released the schedule today, were like very excited to see that there's the same programs for RAP 1 carried into RAP 2. So we had a lot of people like very excited about that.
yeah, that's awesome. And even
Pottery is back at our building, so it's kind of cool to see the pottery studio back in action. That's been good.
that's awesome. Very cool. All right. Any other questions about programming, guys?
Good.
No, we're good. All right. So updates
Hopefully
on
you guys can meet Joe in person soon, because I'm going to cut him loose. He doesn't have to be here for the rest of the time.
gotcha. Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for everything. And sorry about my computer not working.
No, no problem. We look forward
No
to meeting
worries.
you in
Good old work laptop. I thought the audio would work, but I guess not.
person.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Nice meeting
Joe.
you.
Nice meeting you guys.
All right. So then updates on all the Mooney, Richardson, Calander.
The usual.
Yep.
Okay, so Mooney and Richardson are the main ones. So actually, we met on site with National Grid finally on Monday. So we had a physical meeting on Monday down at Mooney to confirm the placement of the pole, confirm which pole they're coming off of, everything like that. So that's all set in stone. They have our payment, easement's done. So it comes down to timeline. I have a message in with our contact there to try to get a timeline on that. So it's just National Grid still, but it was encouraging that they wanted the schedule to come out and confirm everything. So we're going to take that as a positive, and we'll see what happens. I was talking to their tech who was out there, and just like we've been talking about the whole time, they pretty much lost the month of July to rain. So they're just working on a backlog. So I don't know where we fall in that backlog, but hopefully not too far down. And then unfortunately, NERI is a two-sided issue. So same thing, Grid came out with us. That was more of a concern from them. They're trying to figure out poles, where to pull from to get the proper phasing. We were able to figure that out, no problem. So that was good. Staked it out. We know exactly where it's going, what it looks like, where it's coming from. No issue. The issue that we're having is with the contractor. They have not, so Island Lighting, they have not responded probably in over a month. They've gone through, since we started this, they've gone through 4 or 5 project leads on this project, as well as individual contacts with the company itself. People leaving the company, coming, going, all that stuff. So the biggest struggle obviously has been getting in touch with them. But where we're at now, and kind of where I'm at with Art, is that, they're past their deadline. We gave them an extension. They were rolling with it, and then they stopped. Admittedly, they're like 2/3 done. All that's left is installing the cabinet, putting the casing on it, and then trenching up the road. The lights are in, everything's dug, everything is excavated, filled back in. Everything was inspected to make sure that all the wiring to the lights around the court was fine. But it's that last piece. So where we're at right now, I put in a request with Mark Purple, a legal request to have council reach out and kind of apply some pressure to them to see if that kicks them in the gear. And then we are exploring then charging damages at this point, because they are past their contract time. So we will see if the initial reach out has any effect. And I'm just hoping it does, so it doesn't get ugly. So we'll see. So that's where we're at. So that it's on Mark's desk right now for approval. I submitted that on this past Monday. It's funny, now that Joe's here, I can actually get back to all the facility stuff and getting that back up to speed. But that's where we're at with that. So that's disappointing. The silver lining is this issue isn't happening with Mooney. That'd be a different story if it was down there, but even so, disappointing. But we'll see if the legal request goes through, and if that pressure makes anything of it. Because I would hate for us to get screwed with the weather, and then next thing we know, we're in the winter and nothing's done. So that's where we're at with that. I'm sure not the update you're hoping for. That's where we're at with that. So
Sorry, you have to deal with that. It's a pain.
it's kind of nothing we did, which is, the good thing. It's just,
Right.
I don't know. So we're also we have other companies who I know deal with them. So we're kind of reaching out to them, asking them to reach out to them, just to kind of see what's going on, in hopes that we kind of get a backdoor answer of, are they busy? Are they down staff? Are they overpromised? Anything like that. So we're trying to hit it from all angles right now. Art's been good. He's been like a bulldog on it. So he's trying. But anyways, next one, Calander. So Calander, everything, been working on that heavy the last couple of weeks. So the bid goes live on Thursday. So it officially goes live for anybody who is interested. We'll go through all the motions this month with site visits, questions due, all that. And then Jen, I finalized this yesterday, so I need to send you an updated schedule to send the CPC. We had to push it back a week just for posting reasons with the state. But the 29th is when we'll have our bid opening, and hopefully on the 29th we'll have something that's agreeable, and we can move forward on that. Not sure we'll get the build in like I hoped in November. All comes down to schedule. But worst case scenario, we'll schedule it out first thing in the spring, and we'll get that going. The field
So
wasn't planned to be used in the
October
spring.
29th is when you expect to, basically that's when you'll have your selection.
Yeah, that's when we'll open. That's when we'll award it, pending the background check of and
Yep.
whatnot. But within like 3 business days. We should have that all done. So that's exciting. So that's moving on. And Jen, I don't know if there's anything else you need from me for CPC on that besides the schedule.
No, just we'll let them know the schedule, but then I'll try to get us on the. I already asked to be on the next agenda, but I'll ask again and I'll let them know that like we could potentially be breaking ground in November if whoever's awarded to could do it, because I know they want us to formally come in and have a conversation about it before we break ground. So
okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
And then what's not on there, I'm having that conversation with Art, trying to figure out Lundblad. So we're kind of corresponding a little bit on that, seeing where that ended, where that was left. So hopefully by our next meeting, I'll have a better picture of where we're at, because that I think is next on the list pretty much of what we got according to capital and just according to the list of projects that we've kind of been looking into. So hopefully by next meeting, I'll have an update for Lundblad if we want to remember to get that on the schedule or the agenda.
Yep, we can do that. All right. So any questions on any of that stuff?
Yep.
All right. So then we have capital planning stuff, mostly just to update you. So we submitted all of the capital planning, the Excel with everything on time. And I did not realize it, but the 12th hour as I was submitting it, realized we had to submit quotes for everything too. So Tim sent me some of those quotes. I actually still need to submit the van one actually through the online submission thing now. But then we'll have that in, and capital planning has asked us to come, I think it's October 18th to the meeting.
Yep.
So we wanted to run that date by you guys to see if that date would work for us or for a few of us to attend, to talk through that plan. So I think it's like a Monday night, probably 7:30. Did Jason
Yeah,
say?
it's a week from next Monday. Yep. I think it
Okay.
starts around then. I think we would be scheduled around 8:30. It sounds, because facilities is before
Gotcha.
us.
Okay.
I'm free.
Would you be free then, Dawn
Yes.
and Rachel?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we'll take that date then.
Have you gotten any preliminary questions, pushback, anything?
Not on the content, just more of like, I did it by calendar year and I had to flip it all to fiscal year, stuff like that. Or like, I didn't have a estimate in there for turf. So I think I threw in 1.5 million because that's I think what we had at one point floating around. So there's a bunch of big numbers in there that are really like, we told them like, this isn't like set in stone. This is our guess. But that's what we want to be able to actually like, we want to walk through it with them because no one's actually had a conversation about what we submitted, just the fact that we submitted it. So, okay, so then we'll get back to Jason about the 18th and we'll attend then and see where that goes. The other thing related to that I put on the agenda is that we initially had the tent for programming in there, and Tim's quotes came back in actually a lot cheaper than we were worried about, and actually falls under like any of the capital guidelines. So I didn't know, Tim, and I threw this in there, if we wanted to take a vote to approve source like buying that. So like whenever you're ready, or so you can source it in the spring.
Yeah, I mean, so there's 2 points, well, a couple things on it. So just so everybody knows, so we rented that tent for 15 grand. That tent that we talked about last meeting that I was kind of showing mock-ups with a custom top, it's only $5,300. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
significantly. Granted,
So you're
it's
kinda
not as, not as, I don't want to say not as sturdy, but it's not as heavy duty with,
You get 2 for the amount you rented it for.
exactly. And if we don't want our logo on it, it's only $4,300. So Definitely cheaper. There's only one thing I'm still looking at right now is just making sure we can secure it properly like we want to. It's definitely made, I know, for grass. We do believe there's a way to do it on pavement. I just want to confirm that before we spend the money. So that would be the only holdup on it as soon as I can figure that out. But I mean, it's smaller, but it's still, I think it can house 80 people underneath. So it's still substantial. 6 to 8 tables if we want to put tables underneath it. And it folds up just like any other canopy tent. In the carrier case, it goes down into 4 different cases. So it's storable, it's movable, it could be used everywhere in town. So could be a really cool option. I'm just thinking like summer nights, and I'm thinking Heritage Day and things of that nature. Could be a really good use for that. So if you want to take that vote, if you guys are comfortable with that, that would be great. But I just want to make sure it's definitely the right fit for us of what we need when it comes to installing. So, but I'm also in no rush. So if we want to wait, we can wait.
Okay. I mean, I like the idea of you getting it
Yeah.
custom printed and branded. Like, I think that's good. I guess I'm maybe, yeah, then maybe let's wait until it's like, yes, this is what I want to buy and we know the exact dollar amount, then we can vote to approve that. So we could get that on the agenda for next time if
Yeah.
um,
The way the markets are, just the unpredictability of what's going to be the next hot commodity, depending on what happens with COVID and, how much longer we're going to be stuck outside. I would want to see you get it as soon as possible at that price, because who knows what could happen tomorrow that all of a sudden these are, a hot product and you can't get it for the same price.
Yeah, I know by next month I'll have an idea. So if we can put it on there. So
you can put it on for next time.
it'll be our Christmas gift to ourselves.
Okay. All right, and so I think unless there's any other questions around that, the link that I sent around originally to the capital plan is the same one. So we just updated the content on that Excel spreadsheet. So if you guys want to, and I can resend around that link again too, so you can check it out before the 18th. So.
For the capital piece, and I don't know if it's too late to even add stuff. So I finally got numbers on like that maintenance piece of it that we were talking about. I don't know if we still want to make a push for that, or we want to wait to talk about that with Jason.
We can,
So,
we can update it.
Okay, so I was talking to Art about it, and he says the industry standard is to carry 16 grand, 16 to 18. He said, but consider that's for full size or for turf or for heavily used fields. He said, considering the size of our fields like the Petrie and Trottier and the non 11v11 fields, he says 7 to 10 would be more than enough for maintenance wise. If we're going to rest and we're going to give some attention to a field, he said that number is safe because DPW does a lot of the work. It's not like it's contracted. So Andrew's been doing the mowing. Take DPW or take DePetrie as an example. Like Andrew's been putting in the love on it. You can tell it's making a difference. So, it's the mowing, the aerating, the overseeding. You're pretty much just paying for supplies and, not so much equipment or labor, just because most of it is what we, obviously can do in-house. So he said that 7, 8 to 10 number would be he would be more than confident that would be where we want to be. And then I think we had resurfacing of Neary in there as well. I went way back. Yeah. I had the occurrence in my mind. I'm like, I talked to this guy about this before because we had to do a repair out there, and he said he would recommend repainting it before we replace the entire thing. And repainting it, he said, is about 18,000 to line it exactly how it is. So it'd be 18 grand to kind of reface it. And if we do that, say that again.
Is this the track?
No, this is the tennis courts. Did we have that on there?
Oh, sorry. So you just said at Neary, and I didn't know what facility. So okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, so Richardson tennis courts, because he recommends painting it and sealing it that way before you let it all break down, and next thing you know, the surface goes. So 18 grand would be that number. I don't even know if that was on there. Well, those are the two main things.
And do you know
needed to
how
figure
many
out.
years they were saying on that maintenance?
He said he would do it in the next couple. I mean, he went and fixed the repair that we had, and he recommended
Yeah.
we do it, but we just did that. So I didn't really, I think he may have
Yeah.
wanted a little business there.
Okay.
But probably, I would say probably 2 to 3, 4 years. It's a heavily used court, obviously. So I don't deny that it'll be probably ahead of the game a little bit, but 3 to 5 probably, hopefully.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I think I had actually stuck 10 grand in for the field. So when a field is resting, I put in 10 grand as the expense that year. So that works. So we should be fine there. And then I think the other one was the track resurfacing.
Yeah.
I want to say
Oh, yeah.
80 grand in there.
I think it was 80. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let me,
And those
Okay.
are also years out. So I don't think it's that important. I mean, like, who knows what's going to change between now and then. But
hopefully by the time we need to do some work on that, it won't be as bad as it was. So it won't be the, 200 to 300 grand expense that it was.
okay. Yeah, I'm looking. I have I had actually Richardson in 2029 for 40 grand.
Yeah, we have to do like a re-seal or something like that. It's not like a complete
Okay.
replacement,
Yeah,
but
so
it's
maybe-
that's what I'm
maintenance that
talking
we
about,
hadn't been doing.
Okay, so I'll put 18 grand in and 2024. This is fiscal years. So it's
Okay.
3.5 years from now. Okay. And then I'll leave the 40 in for 2029 because it could also be nets and all that stuff too, right?
Mhm.
Okay. The one other one actually I did have a question on is
A whole
We-
bunch of pickleball equipment.
that's right. Along those lines, we talked about Mooney tennis and pickleball court replacement so it's fiscal year 2023. So
Did we say, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm sure whatever you have to say is more relevant. Please go ahead.
No, so that's one of the things that I finally had time. So I reached out to a few companies for quotes. So I'm just waiting for that back to give me a ballpark on kind of sealing the cracks and resealing the surface to get it back up. Both the paint, what's there as a court, but also to convert to pickleball. So hopefully we'll hear soon.
What I was going to ask is, do we consider, I know we have put everything into the capital plan, but is that one that we're going for CPC for potentially? I forget.
It has a potential. There's a lot of grants right now. I mean, USTA is just giving out money. So that's kind of the route I was going to try to explore first.
Okay.
To go that route, just so
Makes
and
sense.
I think we recently got CPC funds on there. So right. I think wasn't there recent CPC funding on those tennis courts not too long ago? But it was like bucketed together with Fayetteville or something like that.
I don't recall that
Okay.
anything for Mooney courts. We haven't done anything with it. We
I
talked.
know
about
Neary
it when-
was. I remember seeing the sign
Yeah,
next
yeah.
to Neary ones.
Yep.
We did talk, Jen, when Tim was looking at kind of those modified basketball courts you could put in.
Yep.
We talked a little bit about CPC then, but that was just,
Yeah.
we could type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I know like CPC got no requests this year. So I think there's
Really?
one minor one. It might be to expand on the gardens at the library. I think that's what came in. I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, there were no requests. So
Do you mean just for the special town meeting?
no, there are no requests for next fiscal year for CPC. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we missing an opportunity?
I mean, granted, we don't have a lot of money in CPC right now. It's
That's what I was
basically
gonna say. There's no money to give
but,
out.
like, I think their ballpark might be like 160,000 or something like that available. But
Mhm.
Let that puppy build up before we swoop it all away again.
Not us.
Cool. Alrighty, then I think that's fine then, and I'll resend you guys this link too, so that you have it, if you can't find it.
Do you want me to confirm with Jason tomorrow, Jen?
Sure, yeah, let them know that we will be there, and then I will, actually, I'll post it too, so we're in compliance. Open meeting law. 10:18, okay. I guess my last question is, anyone in particular want to lead that conversation with CPC or with Capital?
I have a nominee.
I do too.
I'm doing the minutes. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. I can. No, I have no worries. Yeah.
Conversation. All right, you
Yeah.
can speak finance with them. All right.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that they. Yes, I'm going to refrain to comment, but yes, I can do that.
There you go. Yeah, that works. Okay, and we'll all be there anyways, and I'll post it so we can all talk, so it won't be a problem. So
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we should be good there. We have, okay, we need to take a vote on pay rates for our part-time, like RAP folks. You want to walk us through that, Tim?
Yeah, so every session or season, we send a memo to personnel board about our part-timers and their pay rates. This goes to accounting as well, just making sure that come payroll time, it's fine. I know I sent it to you guys a little late, I think around like 2 or 3. Just bring it up in front of me. So the sheet that I sent you guys, those are all of our monitors. It's the biggest thing just with our off season outside of summer. So our monitors at RAP, the ones that help checking the kids, keep an eye on them during the programs, with all the vendors, make sure they're in place, yada, yada, yada. So Belinda Adams, Wendy Hills, Kathy Burgess, Faith Richards, and Donna Campbell, those are all of our monitors. Faith Richards and Kathy Burgess are new. We lost one of our monitors at Finn, so we got 3 of them there now that are kind of putting the pieces together as a puzzle, which they've been wonderful. But those are the pay rates that we are going at. So for Kathy and for Faith, we're at minimum wage of $13.50. Wendy's been with us for quite some time, and she has been wonderful. So she is up to $14.25. Belinda is the only one at Neary. She's also been with us forever. So she is at $14.25, and then Donna at Woodward, same deal. She's been with us for a number of years. So she is up to $14.25. And then the 2 other on the list are Frank Nellenbach and Delaney Taylor. Frank is our archery instructor at Neary, so he runs all the archery classes for us. He's at a pay rate of $41 an hour. That was that old instructor fee, instructor rate that was in place for quite some time. That rate does not exist currently. We kind of got rid of that just because it was pretty substantial, but he is grandfathered in at that, obviously. So Frank will still be at 41 as he has been. And then Delaney is our cross country coach, as well as track and field. So she is going to take over cross country as we are now. And then she is the same deal. She's been with us for a couple of years. So she is still grandfathered in at that 41 an hour. So those are our part-time employees for this coming season. And really until probably the end of the school year, we don't really have anybody else on our radar right now that will be helping us out. But for the personnel board's benefit, I was just hoping if you're all in agreement, so we could just take a vote of support so I can let them know that this has been reviewed and you all are in favor, because I know that goes a long way when it comes to their vote as well. And if you have any questions, obviously let me know.
I don't have any questions. Does anyone else, or can I make a motion?
Go for it.
Excuse me, my computer's explaining. I make a motion to approve the pay rates as outlined in the pay rate memo provided by Tim Davis on October 5th, as is.
Second motion.
All right.
Dumont, yes.
Well, yes.
O'Day, yes.
Hanson, yes.
Great.
Who were you, I'm sorry, Tim, which commission were you going to present this to?
Personnel board will be
Personnel
the final say. Yep. Don, did you know you can just click a button and it transcribes Zoom meetings for you?
Nope.
Cool.
All
So
right.
that's that. So I'll get that off. And then I guess once the minutes are done, just let me know, Jen, and I'll attach those to this when I submit it.
Yeah. Dawn's writing meeting minutes tonight.
Right. Apologies.
Do you want me to just like write a note saying like I've done this before for personnel, just the little form note saying that we voted in favor
Yeah, that's fine.
tonight?
Perfect.
You have it? Okay. All right.
Perfect.
We can do that. And then, so I didn't know, Christine, if you have any updates from master plan.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it quick.
That's already like the third inning.
I was gonna say we're winning. It's okay.
know.
I'll try to keep it really quick. Admittedly, I'm not following it. I just want to flash something by you guys really quick. Tim, I don't know if you can.
Oh, yeah.
Can I share my screen? Actually, I think I can. Don't worry. Yeah, I can. Ugh, my daughter's messengering me to death. Sorry for the sounds. Oh, no. Mine is disabled. I apologize. I need you to enable it.
Should be all right.
Okay, great. Okay, can someone confirm they see the screen?
Nope.
Nope.
Shoot, you should. Here we go. Sorry, used to WebEx. Now, can you see it?
I think the most impressive part of Noah's presentation was how quick he got that thing running.
No,
Like, man.
I feel bad for Joe. So can you guys see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so don't worry, we're not gonna go through this whole thing. So I had admittedly whenever I was on this initially was a kind of crazy time for me at work. So Tim and Jen were really helpful over the summer. And then since then we've been meeting. It's been slow going, believe it or not, we're not the slowest. So now that I have an opportunity to dive in a little bit more, and then on top of it, reading other sections, there's some additional work I just want to do. Now, granted, some of the other sections I'm not aspiring to be as detailed necessarily, but there was a few areas that I thought we could enhance. So I'm working on that now. I just want to kind of run it by you what I'm doing and make sure you agree, because I really want to just invest the time now to get this done. And I was going to meet with Tim last Friday, but Tim, by the time our time bounced around a little bit, and by the time 12 o'clock came, there had been a fire drill at work. So I do need to connect with you on this separately.
Yep.
So maybe we can try again this Friday. But essentially, when put up against open space, our section definitely looked a little slim. And so I was reading and taking some cues of things they did. Again, not necessarily aspiring to be the same, but to keep the flow of this section somewhat similar too. So this is what I want to do. But just want you guys to be like, yeah, that makes sense. So this opening paragraph, I just think we could expand a little bit. Again, just taking cues from other areas. Other sections are much more of a narrative, and it's interesting. In one of the meetings, they kind of position this as like people moving to town are looking at this and reading it. So there is a little bit of almost like I don't want to say marketing, but more of a narrative we might want to put in there so people can get to know Southborough. So I just, started putting in some ideas here that I can, again, work with Tim on to build out. But I just want to give you guys an idea of what I'm doing, and again, trying to do quickly. And I'm just going to keep going in the interest of time and the Red Sox. So just stop me if you disagree or have questions. Tim, I did add the youth Halloween party in here. We can decide how to change that wording based on tonight's update. The big area that I'm finding is taking me some time, but it actually somewhat it justifies what I'm thinking is that we go on to talk about our different fields and understanding why some of these fields are named the way they are might be kind of an interesting way of keeping some of that history in the document. And case in point, I started doing this research. So again, just adding a little bit more color and a little more context and a little bit more of Southborough's history into the document. Again, when they said new people moving here, reading this, it just gave me a different look at the section. And I thought this was the place where we could tell a little bit of history. I gave an example here, and honestly, I just wrote that up in 2 seconds. I actually planned to go to Joe Kasevich, had done a write-up for the newspaper when the 9/11 turf field was opened. So I figured I would just reference that. I'm sure it's written much more eloquently, but just giving a little bit of background about, what is 9/11, how did it come about, pointing out that, hey, by the way, it's not actually really our property. I think little things like that are kind of interesting. Now, the other reason why I think it's interesting to get the history into this doc is that I have been trying to look up information about, not this one, George Mooney and the Mooney family. It's impossible. I can't find anything. So I'm like, so it's just kind of a case in point that there's some history there, however this family came about donating Mooney Park, and I can't find anything on it. So we have our huge baseball complex, named after a man that right now sitting on the rec commission, I'm like, I can't really tell you anything about it. I think it's just kind of a piece of our rec history and town history that we want to preserve. I did actually spend some time on the Historical Society site. I didn't find anything. So if this ends up being more than I can bite off, then fine. It's not like it's necessary. I just thought it might be a nice thing to put in there, especially where people donated the land. So that's one of the bigger changes. So I just want to pause there and see if people agree.
It's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful idea. And going back to just adding some more color on the top of, more in depth of the programs and things like that. I mean, you can tell that was just pulled from our website of kind of a.
Well, you guys were helping me out at a time that I quite frankly didn't have the time to invest in it. Now I do. And now that I'm looking at it kind of with those fresh eyes and, helping to see the other sections, I'm like, oh, we can do that. And so, yeah, so it's kind of fun. I'm going to have to reach out to people because I literally, we can ask my family, I spent like an hour trying to find stuff about Mooney or George Mooney, and all you can get is information on the fields and not the actual kind of history there. So, so that's my goal.
You should check with Bonnie. Bonnie probably knows.
I was going to say that. I bet you Bonnie could give you that.
And the on the 9/11 write-up, I actually did some research because our soccer game that was conflicted happened at 9 a.m. at 9/11 on 9/11. So we had like a moment of silence before we kicked off. But the dedication is to the citizens of Massachusetts who died that day.
Okay. See, and again, I was just putting this in as a sample, so I knew it probably wasn't right, but that's a nice piece of information, right? And and the fact that I want to go back to the write-up because I know that the town citizens and the commission had a lot to do with it. Again, I don't want a novel, but just a little something so people understand, there's some history with some of these fields. That's the biggest piece of work I've left to do, but now that I'm into it. Again, Tim, I can talk to you a little bit about what we have, what we don't have.
Yep.
When we get into our summary of accomplishments, I think those are actually fairly straightforward. Again, we do have that context. So there's some additional, because for each of these we'll be covering any history in the prior section. My guess is these are probably pretty good as they are. I wasn't sure price tags would be something of interest to people. I need to look at other sections more closely and see if anybody else, how deeply other people went into financials or did not go into financials, but I think it's so nice to have, even if we did want to do it. I thought I moved.
If I stop there, I wouldn't put them in. I mean, if you want them to do it, like we referred to town meeting stuff, we could, and they could just look back at the warrants. I don't know if we want to bring attention to
Yeah, okay, that's
the amount of
a good
money.
point. Yeah, and I must have been updating the wrong version. I moved this summary of current conditions and resources to be right underneath where we just got been talking about the facilities. I think this is good information to have. So following our little blurbs on all of them, then we can have this section on each of these fields. And there's just a few entries missing, Tim, that I just need to talk to you about. We can figure out how to get them. And then again, our objectives, goals, and recommendations, I think we actually really spent the most time on this. So I haven't been overly analyzing this piece yet. And we'll go over it one more time, but I think we spent time on this. So I'm pretty comfortable with how this section plays out. So this is all on the town website. So anyone can go out and see this document to work. You'll see updates as they're made. And Tim, if we can just try again Friday, and I will reach out to Bonnie, that's a great suggestion. We can knock this out and get it done.
Is there a way you can send a direct link to this one? I was looking today with master plan stuff and I couldn't find what you're showing anywhere.
Yeah,
Is there
I
anywhere you
will.
can-
Well, because I actually spent some time editing what I don't know how I figured it out was an old version. This one's most recent comments was late August, which made me feel pretty good about it. I'm going to reach out to folks and make sure before we go too far. But Judith was making updates as of August 24th. So I'm fairly certain this is the most recent. Let me just confirm with her, and then I'll send out the link to everybody.
Cool. That'd be great.
So that's my update. Really what I should have been doing over the summer, but I'm ready to dive in now.
Cool.
And my work schedule will allow me to do that.
Awesome. Only other thing we have is just scheduling our next meeting. So if we're following the second Tuesday, it is November 9th. Does that still work for people?
Yeah, I already have it on my calendar. So
Yeah, so do I. And then maybe we can see if Meg can come to that.
yeah, great.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Alrighty, so then a motion to close.
Second, or I make a motion to close, whichever that was.
Either one, second.
All right.
Odie,
Dumont,
yes.
yes.
About yes.
Hanson, yes. Cool. Alrighty,
Don,
guys.
if you missed anything, let me know. I can just send you my notes or anything like that.
I will, I'll send what I have here to you and to Jen, and if there's anything egregious, then have at it. Hopefully this is a representative count
Cool.
of all the critical items.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
guys. Good
Thanks,
night.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night.
Good to see you.
Right.